Welcome to RonTape, where we bring you the best in movie recaps. Today, we're diving into the world of Legally Blonde, the 2001 comedy classic starring Reese Witherspoon as a pink-loving sorority girl who takes on Harvard Law School. Join us as we follow Elle Woods on her journey from heartbroken girlfriend to savvy legal scholar, all while challenging stereotypes and proving that being smart and fashionable are not mutually exclusive. Elle Woods, a fashion merchandising major and senior in college, is also the proud president of her all-girls sorority. She's deeply enamored with Warner Huntington III, an upcoming Harvard Law School freshman who happens to be her handsome boyfriend. She is eagerly anticipating spending the evening with him, fully expecting a marriage proposal. Elle turns to two of her friends for help selecting the perfect outfits. Later on, when they are at dinner, believes a proposal could come any moment and she's ready. But Warner does the exact opposite. To her dismay, he ends their relationship. His family, according to him, has 5 generations of senators, and for that reason he must concentrate solely on his studies instead of wasting time in relationships. He also claims that if ever elected a senator it would be a dishonor to marry someone from an ordinary background because such choices can harm his family's reputation. As Elle listened to the daunting news, she was overcome with sadness and wept openly. Withdrawing emotionally for a full week, on day 8 an epiphany came: she must win Warner back. Thus began her journey of attending Harvard Law School in order to gain respectability. Determinedly pushing forward into this new challenge, she was prepared to make whatever sacrifices necessary for success. Elle worked rigorously to succeed in the entrance exam, and her hard work paid off. Surprisingly, Harvard Law School's administration showed some reluctance in accepting her due to her major of fashion merchandising. Nevertheless, they gave her a chance based on both the impressive LSAT scores and diversity she presented them with. Finally, she reaches Harvard Law School with her pup in tow and arouses the curiosity of everyone because of her innocence. After that, she sits at a table with an elite group, all having worked as social workers for many years. One introduces himself as David Kidney. He holds 2 graduate degrees, one in Russian literature and another in biochemistry, and has dedicated 18 months to deworming orphans living in Somalia. Next up is Eden Wexler, an impressive PhD holder in women's studies and the sole organizer of the Lesbians Against Drunk Driving March. Meanwhile, there is Aaron Mitchell, whose IQ stands at a staggering 187, augmenting his Princeton graduate degree. When Elle's story is revealed, it astounds everyone. The next scene finds her headed to class, and as she passes Warner, she deliberately causes a collision in order to get his attention, and he's visibly surprised when he recognizes who bumped into him. Later on in class, when Elle was unable to answer Professor Strumwell's query and consequently requested to leave the room, Vivian Kensington backed the professor's decision. This act of betrayal sent Elle into a fit of anger as she stormed out with her head held high. As she strides outdoors, Emmett approaches her in an effort to calm and console her. He informs Bella that Professor Strumwell is one of the most stringent faculty members at school. He even managed to make him cry before. Emmett inquires which professors Elle takes classes from, and she mentions Callahan, Royalton, and Leventhal. He then provides her with advice to give her opinion in Callahan's class because he values those who are vocalized, remain discreet in Royalton's lecture as he tends to spit while speaking, finally reading the footnotes of Leventhal due to his questions originating there on exams. After hearing this counseled wisdom given by Emmett, seemingly knowledgeable enough that it could only be acquired through experience of a third-year student, Elle inquires if this is true though before she can receive an answer. Warner swiftly ends their conversation. Vivian makes an unexpected appearance, revealing herself as Warner's fiancée and sending Elle into a state of shock. Disconsolate, Elle drives to the nearby parlor in search of solace where she meets Paulette, a manicurist who recounts her own tale of heartbreak, getting left by her boyfriend after 8 years together. Consequently, she spurs Elle to rediscover her love regardless of any situation. Fueled by this new motivation, Elle returns to law school and resolves to join Warner's study group. However, Vivian firmly denies her entry. Having sincerely missed her closest friends, Elle hastily dials them only for the telephone call to be filled with news that one of them will soon wed on June 1st as they are presently trying bridal dresses. Suddenly, while speaking over the phone, Elle inadvertently listens in on a conversation about an upcoming law school party. Strutting out of the room, Elle sought Vivian's approval to join in on the fun. Unbeknownst to her, it was not a costume party as she assumed, instead, an educational event. The moment Elle stepped into the building dressed up as a Playboy bunny, everyone began pointing and jeering at her dismay. Elle sought comfort from Warner, yet he couldn't even grant her that. He proves to be unsupportive of her dreams and belittlingly declares she won't pass the law exams as they are not her thing. This causes Elle to realize that his respect for her is non-existent despite all the hard work she's put in. She makes it a point then and there to prove him wrong no matter what. Elle starts studying diligently, amassing all the information she can. Before long, she is able to confidently answer Professor Strongel's questions during lectures. One day in Callahan's class, Elle speaks up and challenges Warner's viewpoint. This impresses the professor, who then recommends that she apply for an internship under him. On top of everything else, Elle helps Paulette reclaim her beloved dog from her ex-husband, something which Paulette had been trying to do for years. After all her hard work, Elle eventually lands an internship with Professor Callahan. But she is not alone. Warner, Vivian, and Enid are also interns for the same project. Joining them on this endeavor is Emmett, a former Harvard Law Review editor and associate attorney who has been searching for opportunities to collaborate with Director Callahan's research. Together they tackle their first case as a team. Advising them of their mission, the attorney relayed that they were there to defend a prominent fitness guru called Brooke Taylor Whittam. Allegedly, she had committed murder in her Beacon Hill mansion upon her much older, affluent husband, Hayward. The scene was discovered with him shot dead and Brooke standing over his corpse. Surprisingly, Elle has a unique connection to Brooke. She was formerly her fitness instructor and sorority sister. Although she believes in Brooke's innocence, Chutney, Brooke's stepdaughter, and Enrique the pool boy both think otherwise. In the following scene, Callahan and his team visit Brooke in prison to take her statement. She reports that when she entered the room, her husband was already on the ground. As soon as she knelt down to check his pulse, Chutney and Enrique unexpectedly walked into view. Elle is convinced of Brooke's innocence while Callahan and all other team members believe she committed this crime. One day, Elle was exchanging stories with Paulette at the parlor when her friend confessed she had a secret crush on a delivery man. Lucky for Paulette, Elle is an expert in getting men's attention. She taught her new friend the bend and snap trick, which has been proven to be successful 98% of the time. Not only that, but it also carries an 83% return rate on dinner invitations if done properly. Eventually, everyone in the staff was capable of performing this trick flawlessly, which created an enjoyable atmosphere. Coming back to the investigation on Brooke's involvement with the murder case, she refused to give Callahan any alibi, so Elle decided to pay her a personal visit at prison. This time around, Brooke revealed that she had been undergoing liposuction during the day of the murder. She is so committed to her reputation as a fitness instructor that she would rather go to jail than let anyone know her secret. Elle respects this and promises not tell Callahan what he knows about the alibi. Later, Emmett and Elle take a trip to talk with Hayward's ex-wife but don't get anything useful from their visit. On the same night, Vivian, now taken aback by Elle's ethics, starts to warm up to her and tries initiating a chat. While doing so, she reveals that Warner was actually waitlisted for Harvard until his dad pulled some strings, leaving Elle utterly stunned. At long last, the day of Brooke's trial has arrived and is taking place in Suffolk County Superior Court before esteemed Judge Marina R. Bickford. The initial court hearing was not successful as Enrique, the pool boy, alleged to have had a romantic relationship with Brooke, something which she adamantly denied. While outside of the courthouse, Elle anxiously paced while waiting her turn in line for some water. Enrique, who is directly in front of her in the line, glances back and comments on her shoe style. He cautions Elle not to step ahead of him. Upon hearing his remark, she infers that he must be homosexual since only gay men know about designer labels. Emmett realizes that Enrique is lying about his relationship with Brooke, and Elle quickly informs the rest of her team. During the trial, she cross-examines him effectively and cunningly persuades him to reveal who he really loves in court, confirming that his testimony was false. Callahan is astounded by her performance and invites Elle into his office to discuss what lies ahead for her future. Subsequently, Elle begins to make crude sexual advances towards her, which she instantly rebuffs and exits the room. Having only heard snippets of their interaction, Vivian takes it upon herself to confront Elle in indignation. She assumes that all he wanted out of her was the physical attraction while using his influence for a free internship. Elle is incensed, so she determines to abandon everything and withdraw from law school. She tells Emmett her plan, which leaves him in shock. He tries desperately to convince her otherwise, yet Elle has already determined her course of action. As Elle was bidding Paulette a fond farewell, Professor Stromwell made her entrance and provided our protagonist with the boldness to press forward without allowing anyone else to mar her career. On the contrary, Emmett explains Elle's dilemma with Brooke and Vivian. Brooke is livid at Callahan's indecent behavior while Vivian realizes her blunder. The day after that, prior to commencing the court session again, she sacks Callahan and recruits Elle as her fresh legal representative instead, Emmett personally supervising them both throughout it all. In no time, Elle's two companions as well as Paulette and her beloved show up at the court to witness Elle's debut performance as a lawyer. Finally, at last, the trial commences with Elle hesitantly cross-examining Chutney. She proclaims that she was at home during her father's murder but did not hear the gunshot as she had just finished showering after getting a perm. As soon as Elle hears the news, she has Chutney double-check her story before dropping a bombshell: washing permed hair within 24 hours would deactivate the ammonium thioglycinate and wreak havoc on one's locks. Unveiled, Chutney confesses that she had been wanting to take out Brooke for years and made the grave mistake of mistaking Hayworth for her. With this confession, all doubt is dispelled and it's clear that Brooke was innocent, a fact evidenced by Chutney's curls remaining intact throughout the trial. The case can now be put to rest at last. As soon as Chutney was apprehended, Elle triumphantly strutted away. However, Warner approached her in an attempt to reconcile with her. But she declined him, citing that she required someone who wasn't so foolish and would be more devoted instead. After 2 years of hard work and dedication, Elle graduated with high honors. She was chosen as the class-elected speaker at her commencement ceremony and delivered a powerful speech about believing in oneself. As an added bonus, she received an invitation to join one of Boston's premier law firms. Vivian has become Elle's closest companion, and she chose to call off her engagement with Warner, who graduated without distinction, sans a partner and no job offers in sight. In contrast, Paulette has wedded the delivery worker and is expecting a little girl that they are determined to name after Elle. Emmett relinquished Callahan's service and initiated his own business. Additionally, he has been romantically involved with Elle for 2 years now and will shortly propose marriage.